Yo, yo, LL at night with your boys, the Onora boys, featuring Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. It's that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. We owed you guys a show, so we're here. We're here. We're going to give you this show.
Right.
We're going to talk about the battle of the bigs tonight. The battle of the bigs. Offense, defensive line. We'll hear from defensive line coach Al Washington. We're going to hear from Isaiah Foskey. We're going to hear from Jason Adamiola. And we're going to talk about the benefit of what's going on with the offensive and defensive line and how them battling in camp bodes well for the season opener as they face off against Ohio State and for the rest of the season. All right.
That's
So,
right.
you always reference the 2015 season in the camp going in and how the offense dominated that fall camp. Do you wish you had some resistance? Do you think that would have elevated you guys even more heading into the season?
I don't know. I mean, maybe a extra week of practice just to make sure things are just as good as we felt. But the way we were constructed, it was just ready to go. I mean, couldn't have been more ready made and delivered due to all the work put in through seasons before.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a culmination of what the peak year of what recruiting those 3 or 4 years got them. You know, shout out to Coach Martin and Denbrock and Pat Welsh and Elston. And I mean, they put together some good classes after the championship year that turned into, I mean, 2015 could have been something really, really special.
Yeah. And you know what? The amazing thing about that season was, just the injuries, right? And it's the same thing that's floating around college football this week. Injuries are hitting just about every team in every conference. It's just those dog days that you have to push through because they have one more week that's really fall camp. And then you start getting into the practice of like regular practice leading into a game week, right? Once you hit that final practice to the public is for the ninth is on the 19th for Notre Dame. Then I think they get a day off, and then they start back Sunday. They start prepping for Ohio State, and things get back to norm because students start to arrive on campus, so things start to be a little bit more normal. And yeah, the dog days of what the last 3 or 4 days around campus, where you start to hit like practice 6 or 7 for most guys. Yeah, their bodies are trying to get used to it, and you have just crazy injuries around the country. We know Avery Davis went down with the right ACL for Notre Dame. They'd already lost Jadarian Price with the Achilles going into camp. Joe Wilkins is ahead of schedule. Marcus Freeman said he should be back for the Ohio State game, so that gives them a little bit more depth in the wide receiver room. But the greatest thing that's come out of this camp is the battle of the bigs. And we expected Notre Dame to be tough in the front seven. We talked about how great the linebackers have looked. But the depth along that front line, when you start talking about guys like Alex Arnsberger, Chris Smith, the transfer from Harvard, 6'2, 315 pounds, guys saying he's basically the strongest dude on the squad in the weight room. Like, this dude is just a beast. It can hold and anchor down against the run game. That's what you want to hear from your depth guys, because you expect the guys like Foskey, Adam Miola, Riley Mills, Jacob Lacey, Howard Cross. You expect them to do that thing. But when you start hearing about the depth guys really performing in fall camp, you start to feel good about the overall depth of the defense up front.
Yeah, you just start to feel so much better when you're hearing name after name after name after name. And this is after you hear guys like Falsky, guys like Brandon Joseph, guys like Cam Hart. And then you just start rattling off guys, just boom, 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 boom. That's the type of thing that you really get excited about because every game somebody else can pop, whether it be a young guy or a veteran guy, come through in a major way just because the team is so talented. You can have a game like Xavier Watts has a pick and a big play or something crazy. And Xavier Watts hasn't been mentioned much since what, the last couple weeks. And it's not that he, but on the list of like wow players right now, he's floating around the teens.
Yeah.
Anywhere else in the country, he's probably in the top 5.
Right. Yeah. Facts. And to the
He in the
point
team.
where they didn't even, I don't even think they really considered asking him to move to wide receiver once Avery Davis was injured. It was just kind of like, no, leave him there.
I mean, yeah, all right.
Leave him there. He's doing his thing. So, look, we heard from Harry Heastand last week, and Harry Heastand talked about, just how ecstatic he is with the offensive line, specifically the second unit and how they've come along. And then he talked about how they came to forming the starting 5.
Well, you'd like to establish a starting unit. At some point, there's a starting unit got established, and through the spring practice and our evaluation of spring, these are the 5 guys that we feel like give us our best opportunity to have success. And then everybody else is competing to play, learning how to play. Some play multiple positions, some play one. Some of them, that's something that they can, they're confident doing. Other guys need to stay in the same spot so they can have some improvement gradually. Other guys can handle position switches. So that's really an individual thing. We try to give guys opportunities where they can have success.
So that's Harry Heastand talking about the formulation that got them to move Jared Patterson to the left guard situation right next to Joe Alt. Josh Lugg is next to Blake Fisher, and starting at center is Zeke Correll, who has shown himself very, very well in the spring, which really sparked the conversation because the original conversation was about moving Jared Patterson out the right tackle and kicking Blake Fisher in to right guard. So they settle on that 5, and that 5 has been dominant in certain parts of the practice. But then the defense responds, and then the defensive line dominates the next part of practice. Then that's what you want to hear. Like the back and forth, iron sharpens iron. Everybody's making everybody better. It is a great culture of competition.
And that's the one thing you can expect when you have the trenches are full of first round talent, mixed with some third round, mixed with some unproven, mixed with some talent, but raw guys. Both sides of the football.
Right.
I think what's important is what's stemming both of these sides are great coaching. Al Washington, Harry Heastand, great in what they do on a technique standpoint, fitting it to a scheme with Tommy Reese and Al Golden. When you're backed by that much coaching that's consistent, that's going to teach you things on how to get ready for it each and every week, and you match that with talent, man, I know the sparks are flying in practice every single day because neither side is going to quit.
Yeah.
Each side is not technically trying to one up each other, but they're trying to make each other better from the day before. So if you're going to be better than the day before, then naturally the level of competition is going to raise for both sides. And I don't think either side is going to let up. And they acknowledging like you're not going to find this even on Saturdays consistently. So I think, the edge we're getting there is just something different.
Yeah.
you can speak to it sort of being like how Clemson was when they had the 4 All-American D linemen the year they went to the championship, and they had a pretty solid O-line as well. So I can imagine those practices were like NFL Sunday practices.
That's what you want at big time programs. I think that's what you see consistently at Georgia and at Alabama, where you might not hear a lot of household names along the Georgia offensive line, but the fact that they have to go up against that defensive line constantly in practice, they end up being quality. I mean, you can't help but be a quality offensive line going up against a defensive line at that level each and every day. Lucky Lefty podcast. So you talked about Al Washington, the defensive line coach, and his impact. And look, Al Washington talked about the vets and the veterans along the defensive line and how it helps him be able to coach, being a first-time coach at Notre Dame.
Speaking from a standpoint of experience, right? So you can kind of talk about things in a deeper manner, because they've done it. They've been in the game. They've experienced they can understand the point I'm trying to make. With that, you can do a lot more things, and so it just can't. Experience is one of the most important things, and you can't cheat it. No matter if you're a freak talent, experience is experience, and so to have a group with that, it is something great. But that doesn't guarantee you anything. We still got to put the work. We got to put it on tape. But certainly it's a good thing, and it's been as a coach, it's been a lot of fun to work with. I appreciate those guys in that regard.
So you're on mute, bro.
First of all, we got to acknowledge that these brothers are looking young. Al Washington, Dina McCullum, Marcus Freeman, Chancey. These brothers looking like they just fresh off of playing.
Yeah.
With the Jalen Rose barber. Shout out to Julio. Them boys looking right. And it all plays in part of the character. When he talks about, when I say things, they get it. Because they looking at, maybe an older version of themselves or inspiring when they got a fresh look. My coach is fresh. That means he up to date. That means he know what's going on. He ain't locked in some old style of Western coaching.
Yeah.
He gets it. So if a player can feel that you get it, they say these days the unspoken riz. If your coach got the unspoken riz, I mean, it just makes it easier to listen to coaching.
Yeah.
You value what they saying. You taking stuff from it and really applying it. And it all plays a part into why it's great to have a great foundation. The trenches have a great foundation. When you got Al Washington on one side, Harry Heason on the other side, Chris Waddle on one side, you got Marcus Freeman, you got Al Go. I mean, you're backed by guys that are going to make you better as an individual.
Yeah.
If you just roll out to practice, you're going to leave practice just a 1% better.
A little bit better? Yeah.
Facts. That's the collection of coaches and the coaching power that we've seen of what it reflected through recruiting. We've seen is what it reflected on the team and these guys' interviews. I mean, you see them, they gushing. When last time you seen them all talking national championship? Before the season.
Yeah.
So, I think it just plays into why Ohio State in that 15-point money line is crazy. Because Vegas is not reading articles.
No.
They might be still listening to Braden Lindsey's interview from last year. They might have made the point spread too early. They might have went to the point spread off that interview from last year.
They don't know about developed and dominant, bro. Lucky Lefty podcast. For those of you that missed the early show, man, check it out. And towards the end of this show, we might play you a little bit of Braden Lindsey, man, who is without question our go-to person for our favorite clips of the season. Like whether it's him talking about Tyler Buchner or him talking about what he talked about recently. It
He gonna keep it real.
doesn't get any better. We talked about the transfer from Harvard, Chris Smith, and how he has been impactful and made a very good impression in fall camp coming in. And Al Washington said it's not only because of the culture and how the competition from the other players invited him in, but it's really about the effort that he's put forth.
Yeah, we busted chops. I said, there's no reason you should ever MA. You went to Harvard. So he has no wiggle room. But now he's been great. The team has embraced him. The units embraced him. Again, like good cultures embrace competition. You know, they don't shun it. They embraced him and they have helped him. And he's done a phenomenal job in adjusting. And it's daily attacking little things in his technique. All right, and he's done that. He's been a pro's pro, and so I'm real excited about having him. And it's been a great addition.
Yo, this depth. We're talking about all the starters. We mentioned the backups like Arnsberger. We mentioned Chris Smith, Jacob Lacey, Howard Cross. We haven't said a thing about Tyson Ford and Jason Onye. Not one thing. So that's
we
the
ain't
crazy
talk about
thing.
our boy Jalen Sneed either in a while, and he's been making some.
Did you see that hit that he put on that went viral? Lucky left the pot.
We have neglected talking about Jalen Sneed.
We have. He's almost been like a very quiet undertone.
Quiet TNT.
Yeah. So Isaiah Foskey, he also spoke with the media, and he talked about how important it's been for the defensive unit to be at war and battling the offensive line on a daily basis.
They have a lot, especially with the run block, and that's just great for me. For me, trying to improve my run blocking or my run to block destruction, it's just they're fire out a lot better, get their hands inside, and like I was saying up there, it's just a battle of just whoever get their hands inside, whoever get their hands in the chest first, and grab off for me, snag off for them to stay onto me. So it's just great, just helping me become a better defensive end, and it's helping them become a better O-line.
This dude is talking about the technique from the offensive line. That's what you just hear. Like, this coaching staff is so much better at coaching that everyone is playing at a different level based upon the coaching they're receiving and have received from the spring going into fall camp and the competition. Everybody's benefiting from it. Everybody.
And all that being said, it sounds like he's working on getting towards 20 sacks this season, because I'm still thinking that and believing that that's what it's going to take from Foskey to even make it count for him coming back.
Yeah.
The other thing, you're going to get some technique going against Harry Heastand's line that you're not going to see on a consistent basis from other teams that may be good. You're going to see some, and it's going to be from all of the guys. It ain't just going to be like a Patterson or a Fisher. It's going to be the whole lot. 1 through 3 depth chart is going to attempt to really have it and be challenging you all in between. So I think for Foskey, this is a great prep for him to get ready for the season and just to have some skills to learn technique-wise for the year after this and getting ready for that.
Remember, we did a show asking or discussing whether or not Notre Dame can be a top 10 defense. And we talked about how they have to get the rushing yards per game up under 100 yards, which they failed to do over the last 5 seasons. Especially if they can get close to that 80 yards per game range, that will probably put them closer to the top 5, because their pass defense has been fairly good. Even though we talk about the defensive backs and how we need to do a better job in recruiting in that level or in that room, with the pass rush that they've been able to apply and the blitzes, they've been able to do pretty well in pass coverage. Isaiah Foskey talked about the biggest factor for him and the biggest imprint he wants to make is actually not in sacks, but in the running game.
Well, Coach Watch came up with a good scheme for myself and good like techniques I can keep working on to improve with it. And that's what I've been doing all fall camp and spring ball too. So I feel like it's been going along really well. So I'll be able to stop the run a lot more better this year.
You'll be able to set the edge and stop the run a lot better this year. That's good to hear from your big time player.
Absolutely. I think if you're able to be well-rounded and be in an edge presence as well as a pass presence, I mean, you signing your own ticket. And I think that's important too because it makes it more of a challenge for offensive coordinators to attack a guy like Foskey. Because usually it was like, pick your poison. He's light in the pockets. Let's just keep running at him.
Right.
If he's setting the edge and holding it down on that side, and then on third down, he's coming around that edge and making plays for sacks and loss of yards, you're talking about a complete player that's going to aid Hutchinson his way to the top, but actually be something of a serious competition.
You know, you say Aiden Hutchinson, and you know how we feel about the pub that young man got.
Better Will Anderson, more Will Anderson.
Yo, we're huge Will Anderson fans, so we'll keep up with that. I see people asking about Keon Keeley. You know, I talked about it on the earlier show. I'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit later on because we're going to get through this shortly. Truncated show, LL at night for you guys, featuring Onora Whisky, OnoraWhisky.com. So Jason Adamiola, man, he got me hyped because he started talking about all the different things that have happened for him and make him a better player and what he's been working on. And then we're going to play a clip where he talks about the nuances of Al Golden's defense. It's pretty good stuff.
It's very unique. We're playing everything, you know. We got everything going for us. So we got guys, it fits a lot of people's game, this scheme. I like it a lot, and it allows guys to play a lot fast and free and make plays.
Allows guys to play fast, free, make plays.
I just need to see 11 at the football.
All 11?
The type of athletes we got? 9. 9 need to make it. And the 9 better be the 2 better be the nose and the 3 tech.
Coming up last.
Everybody else talking about D&D.
Right.
It's Foskey. Yeah, I got my D&D going on. Run stop. It's up. Brady Lindsay said, I didn't even know what release packages were. D&D. Marcus Freeman's research and development, part of his program, is up. The funding went up. I don't know what he did to it. He got some funding for it, and that development and dominance,
Sure.
The gauge is out of control.
This year, knowing like what different fronts, what I'm expecting, you know, like, and then when you get the third down, me being a smarter player, knowing what everybody else is doing, knowing the type of coverage, and first, second down, knowing what the back seven and the front seven is doing. So this allowed me to be a lot smarter player, and then like hopefully that allows me to be a faster player as well. So yeah.
Now this is crazy.
Yo, no, first let's stop because I think the resume of Mike Elston at Notre Dame is pretty good when it comes to developing and coaching the defensive line. I'll say pretty good. Now,
what does that mean?
I mean, he has developed and put young men into the NFL and done a pretty good job. He didn't get like 5 stars, bro. He was getting like 3 stars and actually developing them into NFL players. I mean, that's a good job.
But who?
What do you mean, but who?
Who was the 3-star?
Adi was a 3-star.
Who?
Adi Akindeji was a 3-star. You want me to go down the list of 3 stars?
I hear a guy on the interview say, "No in the front."
I'm just saying. Look, I'm not disagreeing with what he says.
That's almost as bad as Bray Lindsey saying,
No way. No way. No.
almost as bad as him saying,
It's not even
I
the
didn't-
same ballpark.
I
You are
didn't
not about
know-
to compare the previous wide receiver coach to the previous D-line coach. That's not happening. It's apples and oranges. Totally different. No way.
Now I'm
We're
sure
not
he's
doing
been
that.
playing football a long time.
Who? Jason?
Yes.
Okay.
And particularly a front. A front, Shaun. The man said he's learning fronts and defenses.
He's learning the different fronts. See?
And then he said on third down,
context, it's a totally new defensive coordinator, new style of play. He said he's learning the new fronts. It's not the same as what they had under the previous defensive line coach. You have to be fair. You have to
Shaun,
be fair.
ain't that many fronts, Shaun.
Hey, I'm just telling you what he said. I'm keeping it in context.
I'm excited though. However, it just keeps feeding back to the D&D. Because people keep throwing it out there as if it was a lack. And the people throwing it out there that it was a lack are the players themselves. I'm just excited that now we're giving ourselves no excuse. You know, I'm mad if we're not blowing teams out. I'm there with it. If Ohio State is not down 10 points at half, I'm upset.
Oh man.
Because the way we are talking right now,
boy, you are.
After that commercial, I already knew. After I didn't see them boys in that nice little wagon with the shades on, dropping real. You know, I'm learning now. They got their SAG card.
Yes.
You know, they a performance like that, you get your SAG card. They one step away from the movies now. So all I'm saying is dominance and development. I just want to see it on the field. I just want to see it. Because this is crazy.
So we did not get to talk about the QB1 situation that happened and was announced on Saturday. Was it really ever a question? Like,
No. Let's stop it. Matter of fact, the more we talk about it, the worse it is, because we know that Drew wasn't going to New York. So to put Drew and Tyler in the conversation right now about how close it may have been is not what we want to be putting out there. That's not the narrative that they want to. Because you know what Jim Knowles is going to be thinking? Ooh, he's like Drew Pine. Oh, we got this. I'm going to just dial it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to just dial it up. Because if he's like, no, we need to be saying, man, Tyler Buchner just showed us something different.
Yeah.
There's some things that he can do that Drew can't do. And that needs to be said out there.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear came down to the wire. One day it was Drew, one day. Because that's not, no. Because I guarantee you, they're not saying that about Bryce. And his backup is good. They ain't saying, oh, man, Bryce did good one day. And then, man, that Jalen guy behind Bryce, I mean, he really got – no. You don't hear they talk about C.J. Stroud's backup. No. So I'm excited that they made a decision early. And for Tyler Buchner to get a clear mind, you know, I do think that he already has a lot of confidence. It's like quiet confidence. I don't think you need any boosting of, hey, you need to go out there and do. I think he already understands the assignment and truthfully, I just hope he can stay healthy. That's really what it is. If he can stay healthy, with the D&D coming from Braden Lindsay, I can only imagine what Styles and Mayer is doing.
Lorenzo Styles talked about his QB1.
Dynamic. He can really run the ball and throw the ball, but he's a smart football player. So I think really just controlling the offense, controlling the game how we want it to be controlled. I think he handles that really well.
A couple different guys have said that, like, sometimes he'll make a throw and you're like, man, how do you make that play? Like, can you give us an example of a play that he's made that's just kind of like blowing your mind?
I mean, there's several. It's just really like when there's a defender sometimes in his face, or sometimes he has to like put his arm at like different types of angles to get the throw off. He has the ability to do that. I mean, I think Tyler's a great leader. He really knows how to control the team. So, but really we trust both of our quarterbacks. But Tyler's our guy, and I'm excited to ride out with him. I think we're gonna make some big plays together this season.
Man, we haven't heard that, boy. I didn't hear that about Ian Book. The players are excited. The players are excited about the offense. When's the last time the players were super excited about what the offense could do?
2015, bro.
2015.
I mean, probably just from like an excitement. Not that we was gonna be bad or anything. It was like, man, I'm excited to see how many points we're gonna put up. You know, and so Tyler got everything in front of you. It's like we just need somebody to drive the boat. And I think that Tommy Reese is gonna put him in some positions.
Yeah.
And Tyler Buchner got to bring his half to the table, and he can do that. Like he said, being a smart football player is better than any other asset you can have, because you're not gonna just give it to the other team.
No.
You know.
So before we get there and play the clip of the day, we go back to Tyler Buchner, who met with the media after being announced as QB1 and talked about his game and how it's developed.
Biggest development has probably come in the leadership aspect and, excuse me, and really owning the role of a quarterback and, fully taking that on. And, I'd say from a physical standpoint, I'd just say my feet, that's been something I've been working on for a while, is having great footwork. And, I think that's improved, and I'm going to continue to work on it.
Leadership in his feet, bro. That's what he's worked on. That's what he's changed.
I ain't heard nothing about his arm, man. And that's a problem. I ain't hear nothing about no accuracy.
His arm is straight,
I ain't
bro.
hear nothing about no deep ball.
His arm is
I ain't
straight.
hear nothing about no sidearm, no underhand. No. I need something. Throw something in there about the arm. You forgot that. We know you got feet.
Lorenzo Styles talked about that, his ability to throw from different angles, to be able to get the ball off against the rush. His wide receiver told you. Just the fact that we've gone from Braden Lindsay talking about he's the best runner he's ever played with. So Lorenzo Styles Jr. saying,
Styles did say the boy could run first.
But he added on to it with his arm.
Now, I'm not doubting Tyler didn't work on his feet. But me and you both know
there was never a problem with his feet.
Well, maybe you're talking about
in the pocket. There's no problem with him running.
I want to hear something about that arm and accuracy. Did you work on that? Because all the feet and footwork stuff is cool.
You know he worked on his feet and his accuracy, bro. You know that.
No.
That's how he won the battle.
Listen,
you know this.
Okay. When you go to a dance.
Okay.
When you go to a dance.
Okay.
And they say, Shaun, do you know such and such dance, right?
You talking about back in the day? You talking about like the Reebok, the Fila,
so whatever song was hot, did you know the dance to that song, right?
Okay. Right. It was all shoes back in my day. It was all shoes. All shoes.
But you're not going to mention how fly your jacket is or what you're wearing. You talking about can you do the dance? Can you?
Oh,
Can
dude.
you
But if you can dance, you were judged by your fit, though. You had to have the shell toes on with a nice little Adidas suit. Like what you wore mattered now.
oh, well, I'm telling you, the feet and what it all sounds like and all the cliche stuff is great, but all we need from Tyler Buchner
Mm-hmm.
is his accuracy. Because guys are going to be open. Brady Lindsay told you. He said, if I get a guy next to me on my hip and I get off the line, he told us that. He said, I didn't know how to do that before, though. But now, 5 years in, if I get off the line, I know how to get separation.
Well, this is the fastest I've ever felt. So I'm always gonna feel the most confident in my speed. More than anything, I feel most confident in kind of my release packages more so now than the past. I want press that plays to my advantage, and being able to be technical at the line, and then being able to use my speed. It's a huge advantage to myself. It's not something that I've had in my arsenal as much in the past, whether it be my legs or my arms, whatever the issue is, or whether it be just lack of overall technique. But now, so I feel that playing at the line of scrimmage with the DB plays to my advantage, because if I beat him at the line, I feel very few, if any, can run with me.
So he said,
he said, you know what? Overall, all of the technique, overall. Because he said, bro, I can list all day. So I'm going to skip the list and just say overall technique, because I could just technique, off release, catching, everything, speed. He's got so much D&D right now. He's talking about, man, I don't think anybody can keep up with me. It took you 5 years to figure that out.
"Oh,
Off
dude,
of 3 weeks of D&D with Chancey Stuckey. Sheesh.
man, look here. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. The Onora boys are in the building with LL Nation. Look, it got even better with Braden Lindsay today. Oh my.
Stuckey's been great. I mean, from a technical standpoint, I feel much more developed. There's a lot of plays that seemed a lot more difficult in the past. They just make a lot more sense now, and understanding defenses and how I should run a route, and when I should and should not use my speed and things of that sort. Been a tremendous help, and just the whole culture of the room seems very bought into what he's brought, and it's paid off. I mean, although low in numbers, I can't remember a camp where we felt this dominant at receiver. I know for myself, I've never played this well. And I credit a lot of that to the coaches, and to be selfish myself, just I think this offseason buying in even more than I had in the past, and really just kind of laying it all out for one last year.
God, I mean, he's cooking. I mean, it didn't stop. The man started off saying, I have to give credit to the coaches because I wasn't bought in. Basically, not only was I wasn't bought in, I mean, the culture was better. He said, what did he say? Everything.
He said, dude, just understanding plays, knowing when to use my speed, when not to use my speed, knowing schemes. Like basically saying knowing when to work the zone, settle down in the zone. Like
learning how to play football, you just had no concept. Talking about plays that were more difficult in the past. I just get it now.
Right.
It don't take no 5 years to get a play. Y'all maybe shouldn't be running that play. If it take 5 years to be like, it was so difficult. But 3 weeks of D&D, it's so much simple. I just know how to use my speed. I know what to do. I know. And then he just kept going. Then he had to give credit to myself and my coaches that got here. Them boys been putting on the show on their ass out here.
Yo, no, I disagree, Will C. Will C said we got to keep him away from the mic. No,
He telling the truth.
he is gold on the mic. He is gold.
I started investing and shooting. I saw they were serious and they knew what they was talking about.
Man, Lucky Lefty podcast. We have 2 comments, man. Want to get to Jim Quayle Young. Shaun, with NBC having a contract with the Big Ten, will Notre Dame have any primetime games aired at home? The Big Ten package is a B package. It is strictly for the 12 o'clock, and 3 o'clock starts when Notre Dame plays night games at home. Notre Dame is the A package for NBC.
A single team is the A package.
Yeah. So that won't impact.
Listen, you forgot you talking to the big boss. We are not a worker.
Our boy Jake Chillin tapping in. I feel everyone is way underrating our defense. We have so many upperclassmen. I feel we have an experienced defense with tons of experience that's so underrated. Okay, he thinks they're experienced and underrated. We agree.
We got a chance. I think we do have a chance at giving offensive coordinators problems because we have so much depth. Like I said, at any game we have this season, a new defensive player can have their breakout moment.
Yeah.
Brandon Joseph may go off one game.
Yeah.
Prince Collie and Maris may go off one game. Falsky's going to be consistent, hopefully, every game. So, guys, and then you forgot, like, Jalen Sneed might get in there in special teams or maybe a third down or something. And you know, the defense is, I don't think, underrated. I think they're just very exciting. Because you talk about Riley Mills popping on, Howard Cross coming on, Cam, even Clarence Lewis rebound year. With the competition that the room has, you just know he's going to be better. So it's hard to look past what we're building. But then again, we're not underrated. We're the number 5 team in the country. And only looking to go up. And it ain't that many spots, but they some good teams, and we can start on the first game. I think you muted.
My bad, bro. Facts. Everything you said was spot on. Absolutely spot on. And I'm encouraged. And look, Braden Lindsay is the best, man. He's the best. You know.
He's definitely got confidence on the field. I think that's the biggest indicator of a good player when they're young. He's definitely the best runner I've had as a quarterback in college. And I think, it wasn't showcased as well, but he's got a good arm. And I think as time goes on, he'll be able to make more smarter decisions as a passer. And that kind of comes to just experience. I mean, quarterback's the hardest position. There's a lot going on. So I think he's going to, improve vastly.
Now,
wait a minute.
I got to push back. Didn't he play with Brandon?
He did play with Brandon.
I don't know if Tyler Buchner is a better runner than B. Bush. B. Bush, bro.
And didn't Lorenzo just call Tyler Buchner a smart player?
Yes, he did.
Now,
yes, he did.
We got a guy who we talking. It ain't been that many months. Hasn't been that many months, Brady Lindsay, and he said he's going to become a smart player. This is why receivers need to stick together, and that culture got better. Because Lorenzo Styles, he knows what to say.
He knows what to say.
He knows the key words. He knows how to talk to his quarterback through the media and say, give me the ball. Braden Lindsay got to learn that a little bit more.
You need to learn from Styles, bro.
Don't be saying out here that your guy can run and gets better at some point in time. How much time? You only got 3-4 years. I don't want his smarts to develop. He's either a smart football player or he's not. You don't develop a smart football player. He either is or you ain't.
Yeah.
So he has to clear that up in his next interview, because that's not what Lindsay, that's not what Styles was talking about. That interview is not what Styles was saying.
Yeah.
So they both gonna be on the field at the same time. We can't have two Jekyll and Hyde quarterbacks.
So you said somebody's lying. That's basically what you said. Lucky Lefty podcast. I'm gonna put my money on Braden just at that point.
I would say Braden was lying.
But at that point in time, Braden just didn't really understand the offense according to what he said.
Yeah, then again, them plays was difficult.
Right. So, I mean,
maybe he had to get smarter or whatever.
Maybe he really didn't understand how to evaluate his quarterback at that point in time.
Yeah, he couldn't change his speeds. He couldn't get off the line, This is what he said. So he was about as bad as his quarterback that can run it real good.
Oh, dude. Yo, I'm just saying that release though.
Well, this is the fastest I've ever felt. So I'm always going to feel the most confident in my speed. More than anything, I feel most confident in kind of my release packages more so now than the past.
You got a package now, bro. You have a package. You don't just have one release. You have a package.
This man done multiple moves in 3 weeks.
A full package.
Multiple moves more than in 5 years in 3 weeks.
No. Take that back. Because, he worked all spring. They did have spring practice with Stuck.
Okay. That's right.
They did have spring practice with Stuck.
That's right. You're right. Can't
Stuck
say
was with him. Stuck had him for about a month before the blue and gold game. And now he's had him for about a week and a half in fall camp. So about 5.5 weeks. You can do a lot in 5.5 weeks, dude.
You do a lot. Okay. You can do a lot.
Some people get engaged in 5.5 weeks. It happens. It happens. I'm just saying.
That's crazy.
I'm just saying it happens. It happens. All I know.
Well, for him to have that many attachments added in them 5 weeks must mean it was bare.
Not bare. Wait a minute, my man.
Confident in
look at how many things he added.
Packages more so now than the past. I want press that plays to my advantage.
Them 2 things right there.
Yeah.
The man done named about 10 things: culture, release package, speed, knowing defenses, knowing what defenses look like, knowing the plays better.
The greatest drop in LL history, dude.
My release packages more so now than the past. I want press that plays to my advantage, and being able to be technical at the line, and then being able to use my speed. It's a huge advantage to my.
Being able to be technical at the line, which means he wasn't able to be technical at the line last year. You have to listen. You have to really listen to what he's saying. He was incapable of being technical at the line in previous years.
He was going up to the line with no tools in that toolbox.
The dude had
a hammer and one nail.
Wait a minute. I don't even think he had a hammer, bro. I don't think he had a hammer, bro.
He answered it as
that hammer is like
for the question.
That hammer is like George Pickens' release, when he just pushes the DB down. I don't think Braden has that in his toolbox, bro. He didn't have a hammer. That dude probably had like
some unusable,
he had a mini Phillips screwdriver. Mini Phillips.
Yeah, he had a mini Phillips screwdriver. He had no big screwdriver, just to fix door handles. He just fixing door handles and battery backs, backs
boy. It's nothing better. There is nothing better than Braden Lindsay.
most confident in kind of my release packages more so now than the past.
That's it.
Yeah.
He's got them packages, bro.
The man just told you everything different.
I don't know if it was Amazon, UPS, FedEx, US Mail. I don't care who delivered it, but he has them packages. They arrived in South Bend. He's got them.
And it ain't, and he ain't waiting for Christmas.
No.
He opening them things up. He said, and when I open them things up,
he's let Ohio State
nobody can stay with him.
He let Ohio State know if you walk up on the line and try to press me, if you walk up on this line and try to don't fall prey to that tape from the previous 2 seasons. You mess around, walk up on this line if you want to.
Don't look at that. Don't get up close on me. Because if you get with my release package, if you get up on me and you get close, I don't think anybody can hold up. So he just put it out there like, Ohio State, you better listen.
Yo, Jamie McNeil, you're correct. Every man needs to have a package.
And to be unequipped for 4 or 5 years is a problem.
Yo, especially a release package, right? You got to know how to break the news, where to break the news, when to break the news. You got to have that release package. You got to know when to set them free. You got to know when to set them free.
It's that late night podcast.
Oh my God, Lucky Lefty podcast. Look, we said we were going to do 30 minutes. We are now at 51.
That's right.
Because we owed you all a podcast. We knew it was going to be extra goofy because both of us are on the verge of passing out.
That's right.
Featuring Onora Whisky, OnoraWhisky.com. That premium American whiskey, OnoraWhisky.com. If you indeed missed our earlier podcast, go check it out. The earlier show from today. Make sure you share, hit the notification bell. Most of all, pound on that like button before we let you go. Everything surrounding Keon Keeley is quiet. Everything is just talk right now. I will say this. We are part of the Locked On Network, and we are officially starting with them on next week with our shows. And with that being said, I get an opportunity to watch the other Locked On shows. And I can honestly say that the Locked On Bama show is not confident. They keep asking, yo, is he going to decommit? They don't know. So all this silent decommit stuff, and look, they don't even know on the other side. So that's about as good a piece of intel as you're going to get from the other side. Like the guys that do Locked On Bama, they're like, man, is it ever going to happen? Is it really going to happen? And they actually gave a lot of credit to how Notre Dame has recruited him, because they said most of the time kids don't leave the Alabama campus without giving a decommit. And Bama tried to get him to decommit before he left his visit, and he said he wouldn't. So that's all we have right now. And at this point,
1 moment.
I'm sorry, Siri, I wasn't talking to you. But at this point, there's really nothing else you could say, right? So we talked about the offensive, defensive lines. We talked about the defensive line. Isaiah Foskey talking at Ish. Chris Smith, Jacob Lacey, Howard Cross, guys that are the depth of that defensive line really shining through at fall practice. Not even mentioning the youngsters, just showing the overall depth. Al Washington talking about how pleased he is having a veteran offensive line and how it allows him to be able to teach even better and more efficiently. And then we gave him an update on Keon Keeley that we hope calms you guys down. We hope. So we gave you a second show. We'll catch you tomorrow morning. There is no No. You already know what time it is. It's time to go to bed. Like, that's it. You're not pushing the button tonight. You know what time it is. It's time to go to bed. We gave you the extra show because we owed it to you. And I wish I had a cigar to say salute to my new podcast nephew out there in California.
That's right.
I hope he sleeps through the night a lot sooner
Yeah, I'll be up
than expected. But we'll see you guys tomorrow morning for another episode of the Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Go sleep. We'll see y'all tomorrow.